Chris here with the ASP, and we're back again with more Marine Corps uniforms and equipment during World War II. This is Joe's collection. So, Joe, what do we have here for today?
Okay, this is what's called the M1912 Haversack meat can pouch, tailpiece, and entrenching tool. World War I, Banana Wars, early World War II. Some units, like Navy beach battalions, you'll see photos of them still even through the middle of the war, still having these things. They suck.
Okay.
I do a lot of Boy Scout living history displays for Boy Scout troops. And whenever I show them this, I always tell them the same thing. I always get a big laugh out of it. I tell them, when I was a scout, if my dad had gone to an Army surplus store and bought me this to be my Boy Scout knapsack, I probably would have quit. It sucks. So this is a meat can pouch, basically a meat can or your mess kit, and your utensils went in this. The straps that held it in place. Your entrenching tool is jammed in behind that on a wire flap. Your bayonet went down the left side. With this pack, you could not wear it without it being attached to your pistol belt.
Okay.
Or a cartridge belt. So everything had to come off. Alright, that sucked. And it's not a bag. It's just a bunch of flaps and straps. You rolled up your bedroll, and then your bedroll got rolled into this.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a quick demonstration right here. And I don't even know, personally, what every one of these straps and flaps does. No clue. I really don't. Here, you hold on hand. Alright. And you can see, it's all these straps. This is what's called the tailpiece. That wasn't always a part of it, but it will. And this came out undone. And this one comes undone.
There's a lot to it.
Oh yeah, and even when I put it together, there are buckles and straps that I'm not even sure where they go. You know? I never totally researched it entirely to figure it all out. And I mean, your bedroll just fell on the ground. It's not even a bag. This is a nice one. You can see it has USMC stamp still. But this is pretty much it. You see? It's a tough design. The suspenders were all adjustable and it clipped into your cartridge belt, but these things. Now, in 1928, they upgraded them a little bit, a little different, but same thing. So it's a 1910, 1912, 1928. This is the 1912 Marine Corps one. You talk about the breast buckle. There would be a big U.S. stamp here if it was Army.
Yeah.
And the tailpiece, we'll show it more in detail later. The tailpiece has 3 sets of loops to put the belt through. Army ones only have 1.
Okay.
Alright, we can see the man's name. Unfortunately, although this is all P1912 Marine Corps pieces, which are pretty rare, unfortunately, they're not all from the same man. All 3 pieces have the man's name stenciled in it, but it's 3 different guys. I wish I had a complete set, you know, with the man's name stenciled the same in the meat can pouch, the haversack, the tailpiece, but no. But they are all P12 Marine Corps. Alright, now we're going to show the 41 Haversack and Knapsack.
Okay.
Okay, and now this is the M1941 Haversack and Knapsack. Much better design. All Marines were issued these. It's actually 2 separate pieces that strap together. There's straps on them to put your bedroll, your E-tool still, your bayonet down the left side. It's basically just two bags. Again, you can see just immediately you can see what an enormous difference it was compared to the 12 and the 28 Haversacks. All right.
And this is 4th Division?
Yeah, we'll get to that later. This is private 4th Division on the C-tool cover. We'll definitely get the detail on that later. You see the T-handling tool on it. Early war, non-camouflage, shell to half. We'll show those again in detail later. Okay. Now let's do a nice close-up of all the different bags.
Okay. We'll do a close-up on each different bag. Alright, we're back again. We're going to take a look into Marine Corps Haversacks. So what's this one over here?
Okay, this is the P1912. World War I, Banana Wars, early World War II. This was the design they used. In 1928, they modified them a little, and they also changed designation. But this is a early manufactured one called the P12. And this would be the meat can pouch. So your meat can and your 3 utensils went in it. Meat can being mess kit.
Yeah.
And you can see how the utensils went in it. And you can also see the leather sleeves that the fork and knife go in. So to protect it a little better. And you see the spoon on the side. The 28, the World War II manufactured ones, was just 3 slots across the back. Instead of this, one on each side and one in the corner.
Yeah.
And you see the mess kit in there, or meat can. Okay. And you see the man's name stenciled on the back, very cool.
Haversacks.
Yeah, R.O. Haversack. All right. And you laced straps through these buckles here.
Okay.
In order to attach it to the front of the haversack. All right. Mm-hmm. Here are the straps. So you lace these through the holes and then through the buckle, and this strap to the front of it.
So, it looks like that when you strap it down.
Right, these straps would lace their way through the slits in the patch, plus through these brass loops.
Yeah.
And that's what kept it to the front of it. But behind this would have been your entrenching tool. We see the flap for it here.
Yeah.
Okay. So the entrenching tool went on. This went on top of it. Mm-hmm. You can also tell by the brass button instead of a small buckle. That would be a later design.
Yeah.
And you can see the Marine Corps sort of that mustard gold color.
Yeah.
You know. All right, and this is the front of the haversack.
Okay.
There's the straps for the meat can pouch, entrenching tool tab. All right, we see the man's name. Pretty cool. Let's see, get a good picture of it now.
Yep.
All right, this was I don't know what this unit marking is. Not World War II, definitely. This is not a World War II piece. Much older than that. I'm not sure what the unit marking is. And we can see, like I said before, the whole thing just flaps together. And I don't even know what half of these are for. All right, a lot of these older P12 packs, you don't find the USMC in them. Either they weren't all marked or it faded. We can still see it in this one.
Yeah, this one's fading, so.
But it's there.
Yeah.
But that's still pretty cool. All right, and then we see here, there's the bayonet tab.
Yeah.
The underside of it anyway. And the bottom of the sheath would go through here.
Okay.
So that's for the bayonet. We see all brass squared off buckles. You can always tell it's Marine Corps when you see squared brass buckles on things. All adjustable. And same thing on both sides. All right. Now, the difference between a P10 and 12 pack and a 28 pack, the main difference is on the back. A P12 has one clip attached to the back of the pistol, the belt.
Whereas the other one has
Right,
Y.
right. They put 2 in.
Yeah.
Which was probably a better design anyway, you know. Well, better for this at least.
Yeah.
You know. And you can see, man. I mean, look at this thing. It's just it's not a bag. It's a bunch of flaps and straps.
I'd say it looks like a complicated mess.
And I have not spent the time yet to go through a manual and figure it all out. For example, I don't know what these are for. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if you wanted to lengthen your bedroll, I imagine for the shelter half and all, you would add what was called a tailpiece to it.
Which is this?
Right, this is the tailpiece. This is also Marine Corps. Again, the main difference is no giant US stamp on it. And the other thing you look for is these 3 rows of stitching. It's an adjustment for this leather strap. An Army one does not have the extra rows of stitching.
So it has only one.
That's it, only one. And then what I did was you laced it through this set of stitching here. And then somehow it would wrap around the bottom of your, bedroll as it extended down. You see the man's name here.
Yeah.
All right. Again, square brass buckles. And the cool thing about this is this thing was issued 3 different times. We have 3 different names stenciled into it.
So this got some use more than once.
Sure. Well, you got to remember, it's the P1912 design. They were using them up until 28 when they redid them.
Yeah.
And after World War I, other than the Banana Wars, pretty much peacetime, so it could have just been reissued and reissued.
Yeah, reissued, yeah.
You know? You can see it's a slightly different color. I wish I had a complete set of these with one man's name and all 3 pieces. That would be really cool. But these are getting pretty hard to find. A complete set of P12 Marine Corps Haversacks.
Yeah, Marine Corps.
You know, the Army one with the US on them you can still find. There's no rips in it, no tears.
Yeah.
Basically just, you know, storage dirt on them, you know, and dust. A little fading, but they're in good shape. All right, so this
I mean, after this, I mean, this transition and evolved to a better,
it didn't even
to
evolve.
a better system.
I wouldn't even call it evolve. You know, it changed entirely. You know, like we said during the one of the previous videos. 1941, they knew they were going to war in the Pacific, and they changed everything.
Yeah.
They were prepared for it.
All right.
All right.
So let's go down the line.
Okay. Now here we have, these are the manuals for the 41 Haversack and Knapsack. If you watch our videos, you know how cool I think things are when a man's name is stenciled on them.
Oh, yeah.
We see L.L. Sanders. They reissued, basically this was the follow-up, the 44. You see the date on it. All right? It was about the 41 pack system, but this was just the upgraded manual that the Marines had put out. The cool thing in here, I was reading it yesterday actually, there's a whole page and a half on instructions, just how, where, to stencil your name and everything. You know? I'm not going to open it.
Yeah, this one's
it's in delicate shape.
Yeah.
And these are getting hard to find. They're so hard to find that you see a lot of reproductions now. Because people want a manual they can read,
Yeah.
but no one wants to open up the real ones if you can find a real one, you know?
Now, what's the difference between the real one and a reproduction?
I have a reproduction one, and it's a little smaller, and he stenciled it again on the second page.
Yeah.
This marking here is on the front cover.
Okay.
And the book's a little smaller because this picture here
Yeah.
is the back cover.
Ah, okay.
But the information's exactly the same.
Same, okay.
So if you want to pick yourself up reproduction one in order to learn how to put them all together and integrate them with the suspenders, it's all in there. It's a cool manual, you know. And they were all issued that at boot camp, absolutely. You know, that was your manual for your pack.
All right. So what do we have here?
These are pretty rare. This is a rare piece of my collection as far as haversacks go. This is the M1941 Haversack and Knapsack. They would go together.
So now this is a haversack?
Right.
And this is a knapsack?
This is the knapsack.
Okay.
They can be worn separately or together.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is not a matching set, but for me, this is like hitting the trifecta. If you watch my videos, you know how much I enjoy stenciled names in them of the veteran and invasion markings. Well, this is the trifecta. This has the man's name in it, his invasion markings, and it has field-applied camouflage. They were actually given drums of green paint. I think they called it Blanco. They got it out of Australia. And primarily the 1st Division and the 3rd Division did it.
Okay.
Pretty much for the 1943 battles, the 3rd Division in Bougainville, the 1st Division up in New Britain, Cape Clouster on New Britain, and they camouflaged their pieces, not just the haversack, but almost everything. I even see photographs of leggings with blotches of green paint on them, you know? All right, so this piece is pretty cool. You see all the green paint on it, you know? We see the squared off breast buckles, so we know it was made at the Marine Corps Depot in Philadelphia, the Quartermaster Depot. And this is the first contract, not contract from it, the first manufacturing run, because we can tell in how the strap was put together. It's called the D-ring. You laced it through what was called the D-ring, and only the first run of them.
And that's a D-ring right here.
That's the ring. It's called a D-ring. And we can see the unit marking on the back, B19, Company B, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. The 9th Marines is a regiment within the 3rd Division, which fought on Bougainville.
Okay.
Now, if we see here, there's a hook missing off of this. It's probably been ripped off intentionally by the Marine because it dug into your back.
Oh.
So it's not uncommon to find these with this missing.
Okay.
They just cut them off, you know. Again, we finally went to a bed. We see the dog flap ears. The intention was it helped seal things in a little better.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't do a great job, but it helped. and it's buckled up the front. We still see the bayonet.
Yeah, for the bayonet.
And there was the loop to put the sheath through. Mm-hmm. This one's pretty worn out. You see how stretched it is?
Yeah.
And then again for your entrenching tool up the front. Mm-hmm. All these slits here would have been for your straps to put your shelter half on.
Okay.
The one on the top was permanently fixed to it. See, the tip is missing. This one's been there and back, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And then this strap here is how you attached. Basically went through this loop, through this, and then it wrapped up tight right underneath it. Pretty quick and simple.
Okay.
You see very few combat photographs of guys with knapsacks. Mm-hmm. They went in with the haversack only. Mm-hmm. Basically, this was for clean clothes, and you need to leave this aboard ship, you know?
Or behind the lines?
Right.
Okay.
Right. It was clean clothes, so there was no need to hump this whole thing with you. This is what you needed. This was your underwear, socks, t-shirt, food,
yeah.
You know, poncho, bayonet, entrenching tool.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what you took. Now this one is also cool. We see it was to a GE Robideau. Okay, now this is the first piece we've shown from the first division. We see the white diamond. That's the first Marine Corps division. We see a 523. We also see it again down here, 523. So that's the famous 5th Marines. Okay. Now, that's one of the most famous regiments in the U.S. history, right? Mm-hmm. 2nd Battalion, B Company, so 523. All right, I don't know what the AP-19 is. I don't know what that's for. Looks like it was stenciled at the same time this unit marking was, you know, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Right, wouldn't you say so?
Okay.
And we see Robideau here again. And again, we stenciled it a third time somewhere. Oh, here it is. On top.
Okay.
And again, it had the same, it was about the same size internally. We just didn't have all the extras for the, you know, entrenching tool and bayonet.
Yeah.
You see how much cleaner it was on the inside, kind of like what it would have looked like. And then one of the main problems with these bags was, well, the lack of adjustment through the D-ring. You see here, they riveted the buckle on. And see how it's tearing through?
Yeah.
When you put this through and you start pulling tight, it
starts to rip, starts to wear down.
See it?
Yeah.
See it? Okay, we'll move on to the next set.
What's the next set over
This
here?
is also a depot-made set, made at the Quartermaster Depot in Philadelphia. This is a Marine Corps manufactured piece. They got contract out to have this made. This one's in a lot better shape. We can still see it's pulling through a little bit. See it?
Yeah.
Not a good design there. But they went to what's called an M buckle. A lot more adjustment through there.
Yeah.
All right, it was a better design.
So they move away from the D-ring to an
M buckle.
Okay.
The D-rings are really rare, but the more common ones is what's called an M buckle. The knapsacks, as you can see here, they started sewing them on.
Okay.
All right, this was cool. His name, and I'm going to assume, I don't know for sure, he was in K Company. But that's the best I got, you know, I'm not really sure. But I think it's a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
You know. They did. Other than that, the knapsacks hadn't changed yet. All right, this one's a pretty clean shape. No, like I said, other than the M buckle, this was the first sort of upgrade in them from the first run of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, this one doesn't have a name. This one, the fact that there's no name or unit marking on it is probably why it's in such good shape. You know.
Yeah.
Then this is a late run depot-made one. We see they not only started sewing the buckles on, they sewed it all the way up as sort of a reinforcement all the way to the shoulder straps. All right, and that was a big plus.
Just for a big improvement, for an improvement.
Absolutely, and if you see it, it held up over the years. This is in good shape. Oh, one thing we forgot to show on the first one, there's the buckle that's always ripped off.
Okay.
You see it? Actually, what I didn't realize was on that first one, it wasn't even adjustable. It was just a strap with a hook on it. This one's actually adjustable as well. And again, they kept the M buckle. And these are the straps for the shelter half. Mm-hmm. But these were removable. So in collecting, they're not always there.
Yeah.
You know, you got to find them. We see the square brass buckle. We know that's depot made and not but we're in manufacturing companies.
Okay.
And this is in good shape. Now this is a knapsack, again, it's depot made. In my opinion, never issued. This thing's beautiful, other than some surface dirt from storage.
Yeah.
And what's left of the depot stamping. All right, when they marked things at the Marine Corps Depot, it was just a purple rubber stamp. It wasn't heat stamped into it.
Yeah.
They faded away. So it's hard to find pieces with that stamp through. And I can read it on because I know what it's supposed to say. It's DQP for, what is it, Depot Quartermaster? Mm-hmm. 1942-43. It's kind of hard to see, but
yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
But it's, I can definitely still see the DQP, the 19, the 4.
Yeah.
Then it starts to fade a little bit. All right. Now the only company that manufactured these, other than themselves at the depot, was the Boyt Harness Company. And there's not much change. Pretty much they figured out the way it needed to be. Except when you're collecting haversacks, marine haversacks, the quickest and easiest way to know a depot-made piece from a Boyt-made piece is right here, the buckles. That's a depot buckle, that's a Boyt buckle.
So this is Boyt.
Yep.
And this is Depot.
That's it. Now, again, if you find this, the contract stamp in it, well, that makes everything easy.
Yeah.
But they fade and they get painted over and dirted over and everything else.
Okay.
And I see this is a matching knapsack, which is cool. I found both at the same year, you know. No change in them, you know.
Except for the
buckles, right.
Buckles, yeah.
Right, their buckles were different. Again, using all that brass was probably not the way the brass was a hot commodity, you know.
Yeah.
Shells and everything else. And then late in the war, now I've never seen any combat photographs of them. Mm-hmm. But there's an argument that maybe they were issued a little bit real late in the war. The only photos I've ever seen of these bags is the occupation troops in Japan.
Okay.
Those I've found a couple. And what they did was, it's just a big open throat now. Okay? And what you did was you rolled it up tight.
So instead of a flap,
right, it had
now a
a
throat.
big open throat. You can get more in it, and it's sealed up better. You can almost get that tight, you know?
Yeah.
But everything about it is the same. Now, these are pretty common on the collector's market. Mm-hmm. They're not expensive, probably because, like, you know, there's no great war stories behind them. They really weren't issued.
Yeah.
But I've always seen them referred to as the M44 Modified Haversack, meaning 1944.
Yeah.
So when I saw this one not too long ago actually, at a show, I had to pick it up. Look at the date in it.
It's 43.
It's 1943. So I thought that was quite interesting. You know, everything you find are dated 44, 45, if dated at all.
But this is 43.
Yeah, isn't that pretty cool? Now I find it hard to believe that something manufactured in 1943 wasn't issued out in the next year and a half. Mm-hmm. You know, so maybe it was. And the knapsack was the same way. It was really a bag now, and it just rolled up. You rolled it up, got it tight, and then you could buckle it down with these two straps.
Okay.
Now, you can see I have the suspenders sort of laced through here and all. I'm not going to get into it. That's a whole video in itself, and a whole book of reading over and over. But the suspenders would be integrated through the whole pack system to keep it together and attach your belt to it and everything else. We're not going to get into all that, but this is quickly how they did it. Now, if you see, if we go back to this one, see the adjustment?
Yeah.
Well, it has his name on it. I didn't even realize he did it twice, upside down from each other. You see it? NS something?
Yeah, NSRE.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah, REP something.
So that's cool.
See, yeah.
So again, there you go. That kind of proves my point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If there's his name stenciled on it, it was issued out. You know? So I think it's pretty cool that I found a 43 dated M44 pack.
Yeah.
You know? That's pretty cool. And that's the Marine Corps Haversacks.
Haversacks and knapsacks.
Yep.
A quick evolution and change from the first one, the 1912, all the
Depot
way.
made ones
Yep.
to the Boyt made ones.
Huge
Little
change.
interesting thing. I googled Boyt Harness Company. Today, they're a high-end luggage company. So they didn't change their too much, you know.
Yeah,
They're a high-end luggage. You want good luggage? Buy Boyt.
they've been there for a long
They've
time.
done that, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so off to the next piece of unique USMC or U.S. Marine Corps belongings, equipment, and uniforms. Stay tuned.